All right, everyone, we're back. All right, so you've watched President Bush's speech by this point, and then you have taken a look at the transcript of his speech and identified any references that maybe you didn't know. And then I've asked you now in step 3 to reread the transcript and watch the video again, and let's check out and see if we find any new meaning. So at this point, you can pause this video and go do that, stop the video, go back, whatever. We're just going to move on to that next step of actually looking into what new meaning can we find now. So after reading the speech, what new meaning can we infer? And one thing that I want to note here is that unlike maybe some of the other research that you've done previously, which would be more quantitative in nature, mostly when we start doing research, that's where we focus on bean counting, what can we ascertain through these types of patterns that develop over the course of time. A rhetorical analysis is more qualitative. We're looking for what do these words mean, and can we stack them all together to glean something new from them. So that's why we have the transcript, not only the video, but the video is important. So please don't just dismiss the video as something separate. The way that the camera is positioned, the colors used, the lighting, all of those things are very important in terms of doing a strong rhetorical analysis. But for the sake of this step, we're going to look at just the textual meaning of these words. So we're going to examine the language within the speech. I've developed a T-chart here. These are some answers that students have given in the past about this type of speech. We want to decide what can we say about the words, who is us, who is them, why is it important, and to get started, so we have this us versus them. We're going to come over here to the transcript itself. What's fun about having text like this while you're doing an analysis is that you can use the tools that Word gives us. I'm not sure, I would assume that our Google Docs has the same type of feature, but we can quickly do counting, just straight up counting of the words used within the text itself. So even that us versus them. So if we say us, now obviously it says 13 results here, but a lot of them, us is part of President Bush's name. So we'll dismiss that. We have one, 2, 3. We have 3 cases of us, and that's what I found before. So how else can we say us? We can say we, right? Another personal pronoun. So let's say we and see what we come up with. Okay, so 13 results again, but again, we're looking at different words that include we in them. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 6 we's. And another way we can say this, if we look right here, this our. So our, us, we, our. So all of these pronouns that are suggestive of us. So here we have 21 results, and it looks like we've got more of the actual word here. So look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So 19. So altogether, us, we, and our, 28 results. So that's a lot of we and us. Like this is defining who the American public are. And so who are we? If we run over here to this side, where I've put this information on this T-chart thing. So some language that's used to describe who we are. We are fellow citizens. Freedom came under attack. Who were the victims? The victims are people like secretaries, businessmen, women, military and federal workers, moms, dads, friends, and neighbors. Who does that describe to you? Basically everyone you know, right? So you look around and like, these are the people that I know. I can define them. I can see them. It's being illustrated for me. Some other things that describe us: there were thousands of lives that were lost. As a collective, we're in disbelief, terrible sadness, quiet, unyielding anger, but we are strong. We're a great people, a great nation, the brightest beacon of freedom in the world. We are also prepared, and we have a powerful army. So all of those are explaining who we are. Now, if I jump back over here to our text, if we look in who are them, or they and them, there's two results. I don't know that I did they before, but I'm going to run it real fast now. They, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that right? 4 and 5. So 4 and no, there were 5, and I thought I did. Oh, I did right there. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. So that's a total of 7 times mentioned. So for us, the text shows us that us, we, our are mentioned 28 times. And when we talk about they and them, that's only mentioned 7 times. So just by nature of the repetitiveness of the language, making them insignificant. So who are them or they? Who are they? Let's look, and here are some examples. Deliberate, deadly terror attacks, evil, despicable acts of terror, acts of mass murder, failed, evil, the very worst of human nature, evil acts. So us, freedom, light, beacon, power, them, deliberate, deadly, terror, evil. That's so we're seeing kind of these categories develop as things are being defined. I've asked, moreover, as we're thinking through this stuff, as what can we glean from the meaning here, count the number of times President Bush says evil or terrorism in this speech, and how many times did I come up with. I ran a similar query here, and I found evil and terror come up 9 times. Count how many times President Bush says freedom or references other American idealisms, and how many times do we come up with? Well, I found freedom, power, this list right here that we have: great nation, great people, beacon of freedom, prepared and powerful military. Also, a reference to Christianity here. So we're going to pray, comforted by the power greater than any of us spoken through the ages in Psalm 23. So that's a direct reference to Christianity. And when unite from every walk of life, resolve for justice and peace. And America has stood down enemies before, and we will do so again. So what impact this has on how we as Americans now understand the rhetorical situation, having it framed for us by key speakers, i.e. President Bush. And so I haven't talked about this before, but this is an important point to make. So when we're looking at who the rhetor is, so that is the speaker, sometimes the speaker and the author are not one and the same. So who is really saying the speech? So that's an important point to make too when you're doing a rhetorical analysis. Where is this information coming from? And so I love this office of the President of the United States, because, you know, as we all know, presidents have speechwriters. And so sometimes while that person who's giving the speech is in fact the author, there are other times in which somebody else is, a position, you know, a company, a space could also be that rhetor. And if we look to today's president, President Trump, it's quite clear that there are instances in which he is doing something similar here, reading a speech that perhaps was written to him. And of course, he gets a say in how that speech is read, how it comes off, and what's in it. But, you know, that's largely determined by speechwriters and a group of people rather than one person. But then famously, President Trump does have a platform in which he speaks his mind and has nobody, you know, kind of manipulating his thoughts, and that, of course, is Twitter. So this is all really interesting stuff. Now that we have a collection of data, let's move on to step 4.